Hello. Let me know how the sound is. I just figured out that I can actually hink my microphone. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Anyways, I'm Natalia. Welcome to my channel. Before I start, I want to say a huge thank you for all of you who commented on the video, just a recent video. You know, there's energy and there is the energy, and I could so feel this genuine warmth from so many of you. It was so wonderful. So I just want to let you all know it was beyond wonderful. It just was so incredibly kind, and it just filled my heart with it just was incredibly lovely. So thank you for everybody who commented, who expressed how excited you were that I made a video, just how much you missed me. It was just really wonderful to hear. So I really appreciate all of that. Having said that, I don't want to mislead anybody. I don't plan to do a regular content. It's just not something that unfortunately is sustainable for me with my also personal work. But I do notice that if I don't make any tarot content at all, I kind of dry out and wiser. It's such a big passion of mine, and a lot of times I just get ideas like the one I'm about to share with you today that comes up, and I think, this would be so great to share with other people. So I do plan to periodically pop up. It just won't be an ongoing content, and I know that a lot of you completely understand that a lot of us have busy lives. A lot of us are, for me at least, tarot is a passion, right? So it's not something that it's not like my other main job where I have to create content in order to generate clients, in order to let people know my knowledge. This is a little bit different. So I hope you understand, and I know that a lot of you do. Having had this big spiel, let's get into today's video. There was something else that I wanted to say. I'm trying to think. I'm blanking out now. I think it's good. Oh, there's another video that I'm going to share later on, sometime next week, because I went a little bonanza and I created my own oracle deck, because making my own tarot deck was not enough. And I have some thoughts about not only inspire all of you to just create your own stuff, because I'm looking for a particular card for today's video because I didn't do it beforehand. But a lot of you have commented under that video and shared that you been sitting on creative idea to create stuff. You've been sitting on ideas to make tarot or oracle deck. Please get on it. Please do it. I think it's so like I said, it's so easy. With make playing cards, at least that's what I used. I misspoke last time. My deck it's $28. Superior smooth finish, and with gold gilding it was all total together $47. It came out $100 because I'm impatient and one of those crazy people, and I wanted mine to be shipped faster, so that's why the price that I set around $100 was higher. But it's not, if you're patient, and you should be patient, we'll need to be patient, including myself. It's going to be just amazing to have it, and it's so easy to do. And the oracle deck that I'll share and talk about other oracles, because I have some ideas, are going to be a testament to that. Having said that, I wanted to make this video to talk about this deck, which a lot of you are also might have seen around, might have heard about, the significance of this deck, and also to share with a lot of you not only this deck, but also I think I'm flashing you a little bit of my cleavage too much, but also to share with you my tip, how you can read a deck that you have like this, that has absolutely no keywords, zero, zilch, none. I don't know about you, but for me personally, it's very difficult to read decks like this. Always has been. And I always talk about this in channel, and you haven't heard me say this. In Jungian psychology, there is two primary types. There's thinking function and feeling function. And oftentimes people tend to dominate in one function over the other. I highly, highly dominate in thinking function, and I underperform in a feeling function. Now, I want you to be careful not to think about thinking function as intellect. It has nothing to do with intelligence, because people who dominate in feeling function can be geniuses. So it has nothing to do with intelligence. Equally, feeling function has nothing to do with your accessibility to your feelings. What those functions mean is that when we interact with the world, we tend to primarily process information as one or other function. And the interesting thing is that the way we process will also sometimes shift depending on situation. To give you an example, so for me, for example, I'm very thinking function, very analytical, meaning that when information comes into my forte, I first and foremost analyze it through my mind. It goes through my thinking function before it drops into feeling function. A lot of people, it's the opposite. That's why when people say they can intuitively pick up any image and just journal on it, read on it, I would bet my money is their feeling function. I would bet my money that they're able to do that because they're able to look at the image, and the way they process information is immediately feeling oriented. So damn thirsty. The feeling oriented, and so a lot of emotions come up for them, which creates a conduit for them to journal through. Thinking function is a little bit different. It's different, especially when it comes to images, tarot reading, oracle readings, because if you're leading with the thinking function, your mind is going to jump to knowing things, and it's going to have a tendency to lock itself in what you already know. This is why for a lot of us who are watching, who are thinking function like me, when you're reading tarot, if your mind quickly jumps to the same interpretation, no matter which deck you have, no matter which rendition, no matter how collaged or whatnot deck you have, chances are you're thinking function. And a lot of times it can be very hard for us to break out of it, and very hard for us to think more broadly, to sink into the feelings, because the minute you're in that thinking function, resistances can come up, your ego can block in a way. There's a lot of stuff going on. This is why people recommend, before doing any kind of intuitive practice, which is feeling oriented function, intuitive spiritual practice, intuitive tarot reading, intuitive journaling, intuitive guided visualization, why people recommend to first just drop into that space, right? Drop into that place by lighting an incense, smelling it, lighting a candle, dimming lights, taking a few breaths in and out. Why do we do that? We do that because we're trying to drop off from our mind into our internal space, into our psyche, into our soul, into our intuition, into our heart. So, like I said, what's interesting is that we can all respond differently in different situations. For example, even though I am very thinking function, right, in certain situation, the feeling function will override. But when it comes to intuition, when it comes to reading, for me, it always has been very, very, very challenging because of the thinking function. It almost sounds like I'm saying stinking, might as well. Thinking function obstructs the way. Having a thinking function is incredibly important, especially in certain scenarios. I tend to be super good when crises happen, because I can process and think and create plan first and then process what happened, right? As a psychologist, being thinking function can be incredibly instrumental because I'm very grounded for people. I come across as very collective. I can hold and contain their emotion. I create a container for them that feels very safe and very stable. So try to think about yourself, where you fall. Are you more thinking, more feeling? Sometimes people are very lucky. They have a very balanced combination of both. But oftentimes than not, we tend to predominate. It's almost like being right-handed or left-handed, because once we predominate, we tend to continue to habituate and compound experiences toward that particular function over time, and so that function become more and more dominant over the other one, because a lot of us are not taught to pay attention to our internal functions. We're not taught to balance them out. It's almost like masculine and feminine energies. A lot of us tend to be very out of balance, and we're out of balance because once we get into one energy, we tend to predominate. I have a tremendous amount of masculine energy, and for me, this whole, since I turned 40, I'm 44 now, the whole goal has been shifting and moving more toward toward feminine, and feeling toward feminine energy, and letting go of that masculine energy, because I have bucket loads of it, and I really need to shift a little bit more toward the feminine. So it's no surprise my work with in trans community shifting only to working with trans women. So it's been quite a ride for me. So let's get back to the ducks. First, now that I spieled you a little bit psychology spiel, this is Holler, Dark Holler by Priscilla. Priscilla also has 2 other decks. She has, I think it's called Moon Holler, and I forgot what they're called, but they're on the way to me. I ordered all of her 3 decks. You may want to follow her on Instagram. I'll link her information below, because she is back to being able to print the decks. It looks like she was very affected by tariffs, like so many small shop creators. So she's back to printing the decks, which is really, I'm glad she figured it out. So you're able to get it. I'm trying to think, because she does this very personal, special delivery, at least up to this point. I believe she did. I'm not sure if she's able to do that anymore with a different printer, where she packages them, you get a special particular item or items with it. I don't know if she's any longer, I don't think she does that anymore. So I'm going to not share what I got, because if you're not able to get something like that, it may be, if you're not able to get white shirt, I guess that's what I'm thinking. But there's plenty of people on YouTube who have shared. So I ordered this deck after I saw Racine on Owl Moon 513. Is it 513? Every single time I get this wrong. Talk about this and shared it, and it piqued at my interest. It piqued at my interest because 1, I love black and white photography, and 2, it piqued at my interest because even though I did not grow up in America, and I did not grow up especially in this particular part of America, it piqued at my interest because a lot of the cards, a lot of the images remind me of my childhood in Russia, in Uzbekistan. There's just a lot of reminiscence to it. And so apart from that, I was just also very interested in working with a deck and challenge myself to work with a deck like this. The other 2 decks that Priscilla has have keywords. It has a single keyword on it. This deck has no keywords whatsoever. Now, I got this one in the mail, and I'm glad I got this one before I got the one with the keywords, because I've been really challenging myself with this deck. I've been sitting with her every single morning for a single pull, and I've been just doing a pull of what are the for example, what do you want to tell me today? What do you want to share with me today? What does the guides want to share with me today? What do my ancestors want to share with me today? Just one card. And I have been journaling a lot on it. And I've been able to find my way to go deeper into the cards, given my thinking function, given that it is often very difficult. So I'm glad I got this one first before I got the one that does his keywords, because if I got the one that does his keywords, I would have just conditioned myself to read it with keywords, and I would have struggled when I got this one. So interesting story about this deck. It shipped to me, and so it got to me last week on April 25th. I think April 25th was Friday. It was supposed to get here based on USPS mail notices on Saturday. Now, April 25th is my second birthday. It's when I celebrate a day event. Oh, I'm getting all choked up. Wow, this is interesting. how much unprocessed stuff I have about this. It's the day when I had my cancer, my malignant cancer removed, when I was 16 years old. To this day, April 25th is like my second birthday. I celebrate it for myself personally. It's something very meaningful to me, something that I overcame. And so she was supposed to, this is, to talk about, see, this is the feeling function for me comes up to a lot of material that has not been processed. She was supposed to arrive on Saturday, which is 26. Then I get a notice that she's coming on the 25th. And I thought, this is so interesting that she's coming on this particular birthday. She's a dark Holler. This is really, really fascinating. And then on the 25th, I get this notice. Prior to the 25th, I don't know how many of you do this. I keep obsessively, I'm like a child, obsessively checking USPS tracking number. And it says it's in Portland, Oregon. And I'm thinking, did I give Priscilla a wrong address? No, the address is correct. Well, what the heck are you doing in Portland, Oregon, girl? How did you get all the way there? And then I thought, it's interesting because Portland, Oregon, and I got notice on the 25th that it's in Portland, Oregon, is, I lived in Pacific Northwest for many, many years, and that's exactly where I had my cancer removed, at Oregon Health and Science University. So I thought, this is starting to get a little bit heavy. She went all the way to Portland, Oregon, where my cancer was removed. This is just, and me getting now emotional talking about it, I think it's a breadcrumbs. This is time to freaking sit down and process all of the childhood things you kind of haven't really dealt with as a 16-year-old. Long story short, I'm getting my haircut on Friday, and my husband tells me, you got packages. And I said, I got packages. I'm not expecting anything. And he's laughing because every time I tell him I'm not expecting anything, it's like, really, you're not expecting anything? So I said, can you just send me a picture of it? So he sends me a picture and it says Holler shop. And I start laughing. He said, how the heck did she get here? She's supposed to be in Portland, Oregon right now. So yeah, she did end up coming on 25th. I don't know what USPS was doing. I don't know how, but the breadcrumbs were all over the place for me to process. So first of all, let me just, before I share with you how I would recommend and give you tips on reading this type of decks, let me just tell you a little bit about Priscilla. And I don't know Priscilla, apart from having her deck. And I know that a lot of you may have been more inclined, I'm assuming, if some of you have been inclined to get this deck because you also wanted to get the special selective items, I really encourage for you not to hold yourself back. Because if you think about it, those things, the porch, some other items she may include, are special without a doubt. But the magic is this. Right? The magic is the stacks. The magic is in the cards. The magic is in every image she took. The magic is in the images she selected. The magic is maybe in the way she cut the images. The magic is right here. So if you've been thinking about the stack, if you're feeling function, if you struggle with feeling function and struggle reading this type of decks intuitively, I highly encourage you to get it. Because I'm gonna share with you today how you can read it. Similar decks that I have to this one, without the keywords, would be Melissa Lucia, Science and Santos. This is another deck that has 0 keywords, just images. You may have this deck. You may have another deck in your collection that also has 0 keywords, maybe some other indie deck. There's John Waterhouse Oracle by Tarot by 7 that has no keywords. And I know that sometimes having keywords nice, and sometimes I have another one I have multiple here by Melissa. There has been many that I bought from her, and then there has been a few that she graciously gifted me. So this is Melissa Lucia's adorable small pocket Madonna deck. Again, no keywords. So if you have something like this, I don't know if she ever ended up publishing this one. Also in the keywords, this makes me think of Chanel. Oh my God, I'm so stupid. Is your name Chanel or Chantel? Why don't I just look it up? And the kind of art she tends to gravitate to, I just feel like this would be so cool for her as a deck. But this is another one that has only images. So you have a deck like this, and you don't know what to do. Here's what I recommend. A while back, I created a class called Image Interpretation based on Carl Jung. I think it's free now on my channel. I think it's in, and by the way, all the classes are in a playlist, or they're all on channel, but it's easy, you can find it in playlist because somebody asked last time. If it's not on my channel, I'll put it up. I'll upload it up. It's free, and it will go over similar premise that I'm sharing with you right now, and it's really fun class to watch. When I was in a grad school and I went to Pacific Graduate Institute to study depth psychology, of course we were highly influenced by Jung, Freud, Lacan, Woodman, Hillman, all the depth psychology type of individuals. And I took a class where this book was shared. You may have seen me share this many times on my channel. It's one of my favorite books. It's very small. It's very mighty. So those of you who are very, very interested in psychology, image interpretation, this is a fantastic book. I'll link it below. The Way of the Image, the Orientational Approach to the Psyche by Yoram Kaufmann. So as you know, that part of the depth psychology is dream interpretation, is being able to pay attention to dreams, the images we receive in the dreams, in order to step into dialogue with the unconscious. Our unconscious communicates with us in so many ways. In depth psychology, dreams considered to be the golden pathway to the unconscious. It's considered to be the enchilada to the subconscious. So this is a great book, and I loved it very, very much, because one of the things that the author talks about is when, and he gives an example in here. Let me try to see if I can recollect and paraphrase for all of you. When he gives an example of a patient working with a psychoanalyst, and a patient brings up a dream, and in a dream they saw an octopus. Now, dream interpretation in psychology often starts with a therapist, psychologist, psychoanalyst asking the client, patient, adolescent. Honestly, looking now that I'm older, anyways, this is like another spiel about psychology. I'm not going to go into it. But asking the client, the patient, to free associate. Free association means what comes up when you think about this image. So gives an example of a patient dreaming of octopus, and the analyst asks the patient, what are your associations to an octopus? So the patient then brings up their feelings that they have attached to an image of an octopus. Oh, the octopuses are gross, they're slimy, they're dangerous, I'm afraid that they might suck you into the depths of the water. And so the whole premise of the book is, instead of just going off of associations, it is equally important to orient the image to its primary function. And the class that I'm going to link below, or actually I'm just going to put it up in my playlist, because it's multiple videos. The class is like 3 or 4 videos, so I'll try to see how much time I have to put it down below for ease to find. So basically, the book stresses out that you orient image to its primary function, because every image has a function, has its own origin function. So what is an octopus? An octopus also has a function, and then when you look at the function deeper, you realize as you dissect it that octopuses in reality are actually not dangerous, and they're definitely not dangerous to humans. So it's you see, then when you bring that orientation together with free associations, you get a very interesting or a much more in-depth interpretation. So I apply the same thing to the cards. Let me give you an example. And by the way, I'm going to do another video on journaling. I know so many of us try to journal, and I have plenty of videos on journaling. There's one video where I share with you all of my journals, the small ones. Well, I graduated and I don't know what happened with me, but if you will see, it's been insane amount of writing. I have never journaled this much. So I'll do a video on that as well, because I think that's something that we can all benefit from, and it's a very interesting process. So in the morning now I sit down, always in the morning I sit down with a book. My morning rituals are always the same. I try to wake up at 5 a.m. Sometimes, like today, I got up at 4:30. I wake up and I go to the living room, I light a candle, and I make myself my pot of coffee, and I sit down, I check my emails, make sure that there is no clients that need to change. If it's my client date and you have any changes, and then I just sit and I either read a book, I just pretty much for the duration that I drink coffee, an hour and a half, I just chill. A lot of times I'll bring a journal, I'll bring cards. That's when I do my morning pull, or I'll do morning pull later when I'm at my desk right here, because I have all of my cards right here. This is my working office, my working desk. When I'm all done, all glammed up for my work to work with clients, I sit down and I do my morning draws, and I put my morning draws up. So this is today's morning draw. It's a fate card from my own deck that you all seen created. Interestingly, look what I pulled today, this morning. Right? Very interesting. So anyway, this is my morning ritual, and lately, since I got dark Holler, there has been a pull to sit down with her every morning, first thing. I don't know where this pull is coming from for me, but she's very chatty. This deck I perceive as she really wants to talk. She really wants to step in the conversation. You would think that she's silent because there's no keywords, there's no guidebook, but she actually has a lot to say. And if you allow yourself to step into the dialogue, she will talk to you very loudly. She will find the way to communicate with you. She will find the way to give you that message if you give yourself time to develop relationship, or if you give yourself time to just sit with an image. But how do you do it if you're thinking function? So when I first got this deck, I sat down and I pulled this card. And so in the past, the old me would have pulled this card and would have said, I don't get it. I don't get it. It's a jar. Jar maybe for water, for milk. What the heck is the message here? This would have been me, right? Because of the blockages. And maybe this is you right now. Now I sit down with it and I look at it first. I look at the image and then I ask myself, what am I looking at? I'm looking at the jar. What is the function of a jar? So you're going back to orienting the image to what it's meant to do. What is the function of the jar? Okay, the jar holds liquid, right? Oftentimes it holds something. It can hold something, contain something. Water. What is the water function of the water? What is the meaning of the water for me? And now I'm going further into my attachment of feelings to particular items. What can you do with the jar? You can pour things out of the jar. When it's empty, you can put things back in the jar. So it's replenishable. I associate water with feelings, obviously. When I look at this jar, when I look at the rose, then suddenly feelings come up as feminine energy. Feminine feels like a belly of a woman, something that's being poured from the very being of a feminine. What's interesting is, once you sit down and once you start with function and just keep going with the function, what is the function? What is the purpose? What am I looking at? It's almost as if it opens up a pathway for you then to start free associate more and more and more. At least it does for me. And then I just start journaling and I keep going. How is this significant right now? What am I keeping, if this is my body, what am I keeping in the belly of my being right now? What feminine energy am I pouring out? Of course, for me personally, recently, I am studying, working on creating, it's called Circle of Trans Womanhood for trans adult women. It's a membership where basically there will be workshops for them to figure out what their own ideals are to be a woman, what their own standards are, who they are as women, for them to figure out for themselves versus listening to everybody else. And it's going to be all kinds of things, and then also going to be a mentorship by me. So I'm in the process of creating it, and of course my mind immediately goes to that too. And it's okay if our mind associates to what immediate in our life. It doesn't matter if our mind is projecting to maybe things that are in the forefront of your thought, in the forefront of what you're thinking about, maybe what you're anxious about, maybe what you're worried about, maybe what you're currently preoccupied about. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Trust that it will take you where you need to go. Just trust it. And so I've been thinking, okay, this is interesting because this is what I'm creating. I'm this jar. I will be pouring. I will be giving something. I will be offering something. And what happens if I become empty? How can I constantly keep myself replenished? So now I'm journaling on my self-care and how can I contain it. So you see how it's immediately taking you in all of these directions. Then I pulled another card. I seldom do this, but I decided to pull another card to give. I actually had a question on. Actually, there was a reason why I pulled another card. Let me just briefly look at that, because this was really easy, so I should be able to find it. Okay, so I asked, how can I be of use today? How am I a jar for myself and others? This is very important. So how can I be of use, and how am I a jar for myself and others? This is what I asked. And I pulled this. Now, I didn't know what it was. I thought it was power line. I had to ask my husband, and he said, this is observation tower. I thought it was power line. So function for me was a conduit of electricity. And even if you get, again, just trust the process. But what struck me immediately, and what might strike you immediately as you're looking at this, is that we have what would be very clear feminine and masculine object. Feminine and masculine energy. This is very phallic. This is like a backbone. This is rigid. This has all those divine masculine energies. And this is receptive, open, intuitive. This is structured. This is energetic. These are all of those masculine things. So this is very, very interesting, right? How can I be a jar to myself and to others? Well, part of it is that even though you're pouring this feminine, you're also, again, talk about, and lately I've been working so hard on trying to integrate masculine and feminine inside of me. It also shows to me that I need to have balance of both. I need to be able to be a backbone, which means good strong boundaries, being able to have boundaries not only for myself, but what kind of boundaries I'm going to uphold with people in this membership. Because trust me, I worked with people so much, and oh my goodness, being a public person in the sense of creating public content, boundaries get blurred. It's amazing what I witness. And so one has to be very careful. I have people who will send me pictures out of the blue that are appropriate or inappropriate. I have people who will send me dissertation on their life stories, asking me to give them help or clarify their stuff. So when people are struggling and they're in pain, and I work with a population that is in pain, is in need, highly anxious, wants answers, there's such a strong desperation to know and to understand themselves that it is natural they're going to be blurring boundaries. They don't mean to. It's not coming from a place of taking advantage of me, no matter how much I may feel that. It's coming from a place of, I need help, I'm drowning, and I see you as somebody who can pull me out of those waters that are, it's like a vortex that is drowning me. So I totally get it. But I also have to protect my boundaries, because if I pour continuously without knowing how to replenish, nobody gets anything. Nobody gets any answers. Then everything that I do cannot benefit as many as it can benefit now. So this is, you see now, and you just start writing, you start journaling. Always orient the image to function. This is how it's going to get your juices going. For today, for example, this morning I pulled this card. Before I pulled, by the way, the Fates card, the Fortune card for today is my overall energy for today. I'm planning to go makeup shopping after this, so maybe there's still gonna some fortunate new colors. I've been playing with my makeup lately. I don't know if you, not wearing the black eyeliner and just doing a little bit more eyeshadowy stuff, and it's been very interesting in my house lately. I'm like a kid sometimes, and I love it. So I pulled this card today, and I thought first, what is the function of Ferris wheel? Well, the function is it's really, the function is fun, right? The function is, it goes around. It's not something that like an amusement ride that is scary or exhilarating. It's a relaxing ride. It's fun. It's intimate. And what's interesting is that it offers you so many perspectives. It offers you so many ways to look from the above, from different angles as you go down. And I found that's really, really interesting. And so just that alone, perspectives, this is my card for today. What do I need to see differently? How do I need to orient myself differently? If I am at the top looking at the situation, how can I consider what would be looking at the situation from being on the bottom? Vice versa. How can I be more playful today? How can I bring more element today? Where do I need today to just sit and to just flow? You see, things just unravel just from the function alone. So considering function is going to help you very, very much. So it's going to take you to all of this place. For me, it definitely helps. It unlocks that aspects. It's almost breaks that initial wall of resistance that I have for myself. And from there, then things start to flow. So I really encourage all of you to try it. Again, I'm gonna try to, I will upload the class, but if I have time, I'll link it below. I will definitely link Priscilla's information and her Instagram. I think she closed her Etsy shop because of the tariffs, but I think she's printing now from Printer Studio, where as far as I know, you can order all of her decks from Printer Studio directly. They won't come with all, little special goodies, but like I said, the magic is in the deck. The magic is in the deck, and you are getting the magic. The goodies are just a cherry on top of the magic. They're wonderful to get. I won't lie, they're lovely to get, but the deck is a gift itself. So really encourage for you to take a look at it. Comment, let me know if you think your thinking function, do you struggle with this? Is it difficult for you? What is your biggest obstacle? Some people are very fortunate. They can intuitively look at the image and all of these associations pop up. For me, no, not so much. I have that block obscuring me. So comment, let me know, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye.